Hi, I'm Lindsay, and welcome to Life by Lindsay. On this week's installment of Serial Sunday, we'll talk about a book series, or trilogy that I think that you should read, specifically The Mysterious Benedict Society by Trenton Lee Stewart. Let's get started. As I've mentioned, this week's series is The Mysterious Benedict Society by Trenton Lee Stewart. It's a 3-book series, including the title book, The Mysterious Benedict Society, The Mysterious Benedict Society and the Perilous Journey, and the final book, The Mysterious Benedict Society and the Prisoner's Dilemma. It also includes a spin-off about their namesake creator, Nicholas Benedict, called The Extraordinary Education of Nicholas Benedict, and a puzzle book for readers to test their knowledge just like the cast of the books were, called Mysterious Benedict Society, Mr. Benedict's Book of Perplexing Puzzles, Elusive Enigmas, and Curious Conundrums. This was written to be a children's book, but it still is enjoyable for most people of any age. Many of my friends enjoyed this book even after they were past those elementary years and got into high school, and I enjoy it too. It tells a story of 4 children, all orphans in one way or another, starting off with the main character, I guess. It's kind of very Harry Potter-esque in their point of view, where it's third person, but it follows one person around. This person being Rennie Muldoon, an orphan at an orphanage, whose only family member really is his tutor. She decides to sign him up to take a test for gifted children after he has already went through every textbook that the orphanage has to offer, and has already started college courses at just 11. He takes the test and he starts to realize that it's not about knowledge, about how well you can solve a math problem, but about how observant and how great you are at solving patterns. And he starts to realize that every answer to every question is hidden in another question. Rennie is the only one from his testing group to pass the test and move on to the next section, where he meets Sticky, whose actual name is George Washington. Yes, like the president. Sticky is also an orphan, who has a photographic memory where he remembers literally everything he's ever seen, heard, or thought of, which is where he gets the name Sticky. He and Rennie become friends, and later on meet Kate Wetherall, an extremely physically gifted child, and Constance Contraire, who everyone thinks just seems stubborn. She's cruel and mean and won't talk much, and is exceptionally small for her age. But she becomes a lot more impressive once you realize her secret. They all pass the next portion of the test, and are then inducted into the group that their leader, Mr. Benedict, has created. They themselves name it the Mysterious Benedict Society, making it seem fitting for their creator, Mr. Benedict. They're led by Mr. Benedict and his 3 helpers. Number 2, a shockingly pencil-like woman, very tall, very thin, wears lots of yellow, just like a Dixon Ticonderoga, with shockingly red hair. Rhonda, an 18-year-old orphan whom Mr. Benedict has adopted, and a security guard / groundskeeper kind of person named Mulligan, who has forgotten all of his memories. The children then learn that Mr. Benedict didn't just create this test for his own fun. They actually have a mission: to infiltrate the evil school of Mr. Benedict's nemesis, Mr. Curtin, called Live, or Live. Not quite sure, didn't really talk to anyone else about it, I'm gonna go with Live. Mr. Benedict tells them that Mr. Curtin, along with his top servants called his executives, have been controlling people through subliminal messaging, pretty much suggesting them to go whichever way he wants, hoping to create an army of evil children to help with his secret mission, whatever he wants to get accomplished, pretty much. Who wouldn't want a whole army to do whatever you want? The gang then goes through a series of clues and tests, which you too can solve right alongside them. It was a lot of fun for me when I read this series to try and figure out what they were figuring out too. And a big part of this is Morse code, which this series has really encouraged me to go and learn it on my own. It's a lot harder than you think. Now, I won't go into too much detail about what else happens, but it's a series where they all have to learn how to work together and actually accept teamwork instead of just being on their own, which they've done for years. It's a great series involving these 4 children, and it's a lot about family, and not just the blood type, the type that you form on your own. This book contains many characters, including Rennie Muldoon, an orphan who actually lives in an orphanage, whose only parent figure is his tutor, Mrs. Perumal. think that's how it's pronounced. I'm really not quite sure. This book is killing me with pronunciations. He is quick and clever like a fox, but he's very insecure and thinks that he is always going to let the team down and feels that he needs to do everything himself. He also never really interacted with children much, since he was the smartest kid in the orphanage and everyone else just kind of stayed away from him because what 11-year-old likes reading college textbooks for fun? So he's very adept at reading people and just spend most of his time people watching. Rennie is also an honest and kind boy who values that greatly above much else. Next is George Sticky Washington, who actually isn't an orphan. He ran away from his family around the age of 10, I believe. They used his photographic memory for years as a tool to make him compete in game shows and win the large cash sum. His parents always cared about the money, and he felt that's what they only cared about. So he ran away, thinking that they wouldn't even notice if he was gone. This gave him severe abandonment issues because he felt that his parents abandoned him as their child for money. He is very insecure too and feels that he needs to do everything perfectly. Insecurity is a large theme among many of the characters in these books. And then we have Kate Weatherall, another orphan who grew up in a circus. She has faint memories of her father, but he just disappeared. So she ran away and grew up with the circus. She's extremely agile. Might not be the brightest compared to Rennie and Sticky, but she still has her smarts. But is much more physically adept than Rennie, Sticky, and Constance, making that her superpower and her gift. Kate is used to doing everything by herself, and doesn't really know how to participate in a team, which is her biggest challenge that she needs to overcome throughout the series. But she eventually learns that she alone can't do everything, and sometimes that she just needs to step back and let someone else take the wheel for a while. Next up is Constance Contraire, and very true to her name, she's contrary to everyone on everything. Pretty much just wanting to disagree just for the fun of it. She's stubborn and constantly is miserable. But despite that, she has a strong compassion that she just doesn't show upon first glance. She has strong intuition, but lacks immaturity, and is much younger than the other kids. She has strong self-awareness too, pretty much severe in both positive and negative attributes. And then there is the man who started it all, Mr. Benedict. He is a genius, not only self-proclaimed, but by all the people who raised him and everyone who even knows him. But he deals with narcolepsy, meaning that at random moments he just falls asleep throughout the day, which puts a big damper on his life, which is why he has number 2 constantly following him around, making sure that he doesn't pass out and accidentally kill himself while he's eating his steak. Just like all the children, Mr. Benedict is also an orphan. He is very isolated off of everyone else, but is very kind and believes in collaboration over just doing everything by yourself. These books are pretty long, the longest one maxing out at 484 pages to be exact. These are designed to be kids' books, but they're great for any age, especially if you love mysteries. And honestly, if you can read this with a kid and you can have fun helping them try and figure out the mysteries right alongside. That's all I have for you this week. If you like this video, press the like button down below and the subscribe button. I will leave the link to these wonderful books in the description below. And if you have a recommendation for a book series, or a trilogy, or maybe even an author that you want to suggest, leave them in the comments below. And I'll see you guys again next week. And if you want to watch more Serial Sunday, press the annotation down below. Bye!